contrary to what Eagles fans may believe, I don't hate Jalen Hurts. I've been watching Jalen Hurts ever since he first started for Alabama as a true freshman for Nick Saban. I admire how, despite when he got benched in favor of Tua in the national championship and was regulated to being his backup, instead of transferring, he decided to stick with the program, grow and develop. And when Tua went down in the SEC title game against Georgia, Jalen Hurts came in that game and saved the day for Alabama. And then he transfers to Oklahoma, ends up leading them to the college football playoffs. He was a Heisman finalist, and he has gone on to have a great NFL career up to this point. I never questioned one time how good Jalen Hurts would be in the NFL. I always believed that he would be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. But the issue that I have with Jalen Hurts is how he's discussed. Because the way Jalen Hurts is talked about is everything wrong with NFL discourse right now. Jalen Hurts wins the Super Bowl, and people use that as a knock against him. He's the beneficiary of playing on a God squad, when every quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame that has a Super Bowl ring wasn't able to do it without playing alongside of other Hall of Fame level players. Outside of Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, those are the only two quarterbacks in the history of this game to be able to win championships in spite of not playing on stacked teams. And even then, both of those guys have played with their fair share of Hall of Fame talent. But Peyton Manning played with Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Aaron Rodgers played with Hall of Fame level talent. Every quarterback that wins a Super Bowl outside of Brady and Mahomes needs a stacked team to do so. If you were to name your 5 best quarterbacks in the league right now, they all would have elite players around them. Jalen Hurts, just because he won a Super Bowl on a stacked team, doesn't diminish his value to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a top 5 quarterback. What makes Jalen Hurts great is how consistent he is in the playoffs. When the lights are the brightest and the pressure is at its highest, that's when Jalen Hurts plays his best football. And you know what you get out of Jalen Hurts in every playoff game that you see the Eagles in. You know that he's going to take good care of the football. He's not going to do too much to keep the team from winning. And he's going to do what's necessary to win. That's what makes Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback. I'm not going to argue against Jalen Hurts being elite, because he is, in my opinion, and he also is a top 5, top 6 quarterback in the game right now. It is idiotic that we use Jalen Hurts playing on a stacked team against them and try to demean him as a quarterback, because he has the beneficiary of playing on a team that was properly constructed. Jalen Hurts is more than a taxi driver. He is not a system quarterback. It is hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL, no matter how talented you are. Even if you're playing on a good team, there's no guarantee that you're going to be the guy hoisting that Lombardi trophy at the end of the season. My issue that I also have with the Jalen Hurts discourse is how he highlights the problem with ring culture in sports. Because Jalen Hurts winning a Super Bowl doesn't make him better than Lamar, Josh Allen, or any other quarterback that doesn't have a ring. Because rings don't define talent. Being the most accomplished is different from being the most talented. Why Brady is considered the GOAT is because he was able to elevate Patriots teams that weren't expected to be Super Bowl caliber teams without him. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. When Tyreek Hill got traded to Miami, that was the first time the world wrongly predicted the downfall of the Chiefs dynasty. Brady and Mahomes can win with anybody. Outside of those 2 quarterbacks, everybody needs talent around them to win. I hate how Jalen Hurts is used to put down the greatness of Lamar Jackson. Because if we were to discuss who is the most talented quarterback in the history of the game of football, Lamar Jackson, without a doubt, would be the number one guy. Because we've never seen a quarterback that has entered the league with 4.2 speed, with the ability to throw the football on the Aaron Rodgers level of efficiency. Lamar has the 4th highest career passer rating in the NFL. He had 40 touchdowns and less than 5 interceptions last season. That is Aaron Rodgers' level of efficiency. He's a 2-time MVP and a 3-time first-team All-Pro. Just because he doesn't have a ring doesn't demean his greatness, and it doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts is better than him. I can believe that Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback, but not view him as the best or the second best quarterback in the game. That's not hating. That's just personal preference. And if you think that Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, whoever, I'm not necessarily going to entirely disagree with you, but do you have a nuanced argument to pair along with him having a Super Bowl ring? Because winning a Super Bowl is just a small part of the equation to when you assess how good a quarterback truly is. There are other things that goes into building an argument for Jalen Hurts as how he compares to other elite quarterbacks in the NFL. What are his personal accolades? Winning a Super Bowl is not the end-all, be-all. There are plenty of quarterbacks in the history of the league that have won Super Bowls despite not being Hall of Fame level talents. Joe Flacco, Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, all 3 of those guys have Super Bowl rings, but Dan Marino doesn't. But none of those guys come anywhere close to Dan Marino, in spite of him not having a ring. Charles Barkley doesn't have a ring, and yet he still is one of the greatest players in NBA history. But yet, Bill Russell has the most championships in the history of the NBA, but he's never brought up in the GOAT conversation like how Michael Jordan and LeBron James are. Winning a championship is a small piece to building the argument for how good a player truly is. It is not a logical argument to solely justify how good a player is just because they have a ring and the other guy doesn't. If we compare Lamar and Jalen Hurts from a talent standpoint, Lamar is in a completely different universe from him and every other quarterback that has touched the football. There has never been a quarterback as more gifted than what Lamar Jackson is. If you were to create a quarterback in Madden with 99 everything, 99 speed, 99 throw power, 99 accuracy, that's what Lamar Jackson would be. Jalen doesn't need to be Lamar to win. But winning a Super Bowl doesn't necessarily mean that he's better. He just was able to execute in the biggest moments, and Lamar hasn't been able to do that, along with not just him, but the entirety of the Ravens. We seem to forget that Jalen Hurts didn't win the Super Bowl by himself. He won it because he was on a good team, and the Eagles do what the Ravens have been unable to do, which is not beat themselves. You don't see the Eagles having big drops in crucial moments, like how the Ravens did with Mark Andrews when he dropped that 2-point conversion, which would have sent the game to overtime. You didn't see A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith fumble the game on the 1-yard line in the NFC Championship. The Ravens' shortcomings are not because of Lamar Jackson. It is because this is a team that, as a whole, beats themselves. The coaching isn't always up to par like what it is with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles have been a better overall team, especially in big crucial moments, and gotta have in moments, than what the Baltimore Ravens have been in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts highlights the issue that we have with quarterbacks that we don't perceive to be extremely athletically gifted. We want to demean their success because they are the beneficiaries of playing on a good team, and we overlook their importance in winning those championships. But we also use Jalen Hurts to put down other quarterbacks that don't have a championship just because he does. And we overlook that football is not 1 versus 11, it's 11 versus 11. And everybody else has to go out there and do their job in order to win.